Exploring the issues that matter most in Indiana. This is In Focus with Dan Spieler.
New developments this week in the fight against COVID-19. The state will be getting 100,000 new doses of the vaccine this week, but no changes yet in terms of who is eligible. Teachers have been asking to be included. They have not been yet, but there are new policies for schools that take effect tomorrow. Could mean fewer situations where a quarantine is required. This as talks continue in Washington over the next round of coronavirus relief, something President Biden discussed in his Super Bowl Sunday interview with CBS News.
Middle-class folks need help, but you don't need to get any help to someone making $300,000.
And you can see the president's interview with CBS later today. Good morning. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. Today, we're also checking in with our Washington bureau ahead of another busy week. There's the impeachment trial starting Tuesday. We're also hearing from our Indiana lawmakers on the ongoing relief negotiations. Democrats moving ahead after an Indiana senator and his colleagues met with President Biden this past week. Rashad Hudson has more.
Both sides say they want to put money into the pockets of Americans, but the big question is how much. Republicans want a smaller, scaled-back amount, while Democrats are saying go big.
I have no tolerance for delay, no patience.
Democrats like Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal are urging their Senate colleagues to move quick on COVID relief.
The bill is very bipartisan because it will include a lot of Republican priorities.
Virginia Senator Tim Kaine says there is common ground between Senate Democrats and the gang of 10 Republican senators that met with President Joe Biden Monday night.
But the president is to be credited for his response to a counter proposal.
Indiana Republican Senator Todd Young says the $1.9 trillion price tag on the president's plan is too big, considering the last relief package was passed in December.
Much of which has not been spent, and much of the CARES Act from early last year has not even been distributed.
One of the differences between the two plans is Republicans want to offer $1,000 checks to low-income Americans, whereas President Biden wants to deliver $1,400 checks to the same citizens included in the last round. Senate Democrats say they're confident that they will deliver a COVID relief package in the coming weeks. In Washington, Rashad Hudson, back to you.
Rashad, thanks. Friday, after the Democrats voted to move forward, Senator Young said, quote, President Biden has emphasized unity, but actions from his Democratic counterparts in Congress aren't matching up. Their plan to ram a one-sided package through Congress without bipartisan negotiation is the opposite of unity. We are also hearing from Indiana Senator Mike Braun, who I spoke with one-on-one this past week.
It looks like Democrats plan to move ahead on the president's proposal for COVID relief, despite the efforts of some in your party, including Senator Young, who was there at the White House this past week. Is that ultimately what's going to happen, or is there any other room for compromise here?
You know, I think so, because I think it was done more for process and kind of extending that invitation to talk. I think it was pretty clear when they talked so much about getting their point of view across. They now control the, levers of power that, and I think that's the thing you got to be careful of. I've found that when they get something in their agenda, it pretty well is lockstep to completion. On our side, we generally have a little more herding that needs to be done. So, yeah, I think we're going forward and out of the gate through the executive orders, basically unraveling everything that Trump did, including the stuff we all know that was working. I come from Main Street, running a business before I became a senator. Not one thing that's been done to me helps get us back to the economy we had pre-COVID. And I'm going to talk about that, and not going to be an obstructionist on stuff in general. I've tried to really look at each nominee, which has been where we've spent most of our time. But what I see out of the gate, I don't think bodes well for the economy or what they really need to accomplish.
You mentioned some of the nominees. You voted to confirm Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who was sworn in this week, but you voted down some of the president's nominees. What are your thoughts on the overall makeup of the president's cabinet, and also how will the impeachment trial next week impact the confirmation process for some of the remaining nominees?
So number one, any vote that we make is probably to indicate a point of view or a protest vote. I think they will hold rank and get every nominee probably across the finish line. A new president does have, should have the ability to put his team together. And in this case, I don't think there's not going to be one of them that doesn't get across the finish line anyway.
A lot of talk this week about the future of the GOP. Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Congresswoman Green. Do you feel your party needs to evolve beyond some of these episodes that we've seen play out in recent weeks that might involve conspiracy theories or other outrage-driven grievances, perhaps?
Well, that's obviously not a building block to expanding the party. And I've been outspoken that we should learn from recent elections that we got to bring more young people, more ethnic and minority groups into the party as young conservatives and get them to become Republicans, and we need to make the case. I don't think you do it by having extreme points of view as part of it. So to me, that's a no-brainer.
All right, my interview there with Senator Mike Braun. This week, our Washington bureau took some of those same questions about the future of the GOP and the stimulus talks to members of Indiana's congressional delegation.
We're looking at increasing direct payments to $2,000 for families, support for vaccine distribution, testing, additional aid to small businesses, funding to save state and local jobs, and an extension of unemployment benefits.
We shouldn't just spend billions in 5-minute stroke of a pen. On 1 hour, just decided, here it is, here's another check. How many more billions are we going to write like that without looking really what's happening?
This Biden so-called COVID relief deal has hundreds of billions of dollars that would go to bail out blue states like Illinois on the backs of taxpayers and fiscally responsible states like in my state of Indiana. Republicans are on the side of where most of the American people are on a wide range of issues. So the more that Republicans can unite, move on, get back on our feet and move on and focus on the issues, the more likely it will be that we win back the majority. But as far as Marjorie Taylor Greene, things that she said and tweeted in the past are despicable. She was, from what my understanding, she scrubbed them from her Twitter account and distanced herself from some of the things, the terrible things that she said. But it's a slippery slope to remove members of Congress from committees.
Regardless how I feel what she says or AOC says, I don't like something they say. We also have to defend everyone else's First Amendment rights to express their opinions, because where do we stop when we decide in Congress what people are going to do, what committees they're going to sit? I think we have voters that make these decisions, and I think we have to be careful before we decide to sanction committee members based on what they said, he said, she said. Someday we'll be in majority. Should we start doing the same? Take all Twitter accounts of, Democrat members and decide, do we like what they said? Do we don't like? I think that's a slippery slope.
Green was stripped of her committee assignments for those comments through the years, endorsing conspiracy theories, even violence in some cases. Still, all of Indiana's Republican lawmakers did vote to keep her in place. A spokesperson for the Indiana Democrats said, quote, the Indiana Republican Party declared their morals no longer rest in science, truth, and the American values we've cherished. Much more on that with our panel. Also ahead, we'll talk about the Super Bowl ad put together by the state health department as we discuss the politics of the pandemic. And later this morning, we reflect on Indy's Super Bowl legacy with former Mayor Greg Ballard.